you're gonna cringe at this so bad, but my brothers, my back, they did an adjustment on me one time, you know, chiropractor's nightmare here, but it actually worked somehow, and I did feel a lot of relief for a little while.
That feels lovely, Ed. How you feel?
Oh yeah.
So as we unweight the front, we call it a vacuum effect. The disc will actually get almost like a straw, get sucked back towards the front as you depressure. It doesn't actually want to be out there. People don't understand this. The discs don't want to be out there by the nerve. They're only there because where they want to be has been so compressed that it's shifted them out.
Like looking back, that definitely was the event that kind of got things going. It was a fall. I was going up. It was a shorter rim, 9 foot. Put it down, went for the dunk. Got the dunk, came down, slipped, right on the back.
Jammed it.
And it was specifically this spot, and it was just like, oh, and that's something I remember. Didn't really put 2 and 2 together until this started acting up on me recently.
So left lower back, kind of just localized in there. Right shoulder, like around the shoulder blade.
Yeah, shoulder, and then it's kind of crunchy up here, but yeah, it's also back shoulder blade area.
Okay. There's this diagram over here that does a pretty good job. Maybe you've seen it on my videos, but the nerves from the joints in your lower neck refer pain to the border of the scapula. That's what that sort of shaded area there shows, is that when you irritate the knuckles in the neck, they give you pain on the shoulder. Then when the shoulder goes forward, you jam the AC joint. And so this goes forward and try to unpinch this. So you're trying to make this feel better, but then you jam the front side. I know you said earlier that a lot of your day requires you to be sitting. So sitting, typically we're more forward than we are back, and it's just easy to become more rounded than we're supposed to be. So when you rotate right, you feel it more down here on the right, and then you rotate left.
Definitely here it feels like it just
pulls.
Just stopping me. Yeah.
Okay, we'll clean all that up. But not when you rotate left, you're not feeling it so much back here on but more the attachments, the muscles there on the side are all.
Yeah, it's like this area. I do have that tightness, but it's not anything that's crazy like holding me back.
So those are all soft tissue attachments, injuries in the soft tissue. What do we say? Low cost things. The stuff that's high cost is right there in my center of my lower back.
Yeah.
This is the expensive stuff. And so if it's not hurting the expensive areas, I'm a little happier. When you're hurting in the soft tissue areas, we'll see that with the gua sha. The attachments won't right themselves. So when you have a soft tissue injury, the tendons dive through the layers of the muscles, and then when they get injured, they sort of rip up the layers, and you have all this inflammation or fluid that gets in between the layers, cause a lot of pain. And so we're trying to push down those layers down, compress the attachment, but it all replaces. It's not, like I said, it's not the end of the world, but it's loaded with pain fibers, and so it can, killing me, Ed.
You're gonna cringe at this so bad, but my brothers, my back, they did an adjustment on me one time, chiropractor's nightmare here, but it actually worked somehow, and I did feel a lot of relief for a little while, but my old habits kind of put it right back in the same spot. It was like one of them was holding me on this side, and then my brother just like pulled the leg, and it was the loudest pop, and it was like, wow, this is such great relief. I've never felt that before. This is where it should be. It's not something I want to say.
It's okay.
I think it's something I should.
It's confession time. Let it all go. Let it all go. Let the jaw relax. Deep breath in. Perfect. Exhale. Let the jaw relax. Open. No sound. Just let the air out. There you go. Let it go. There you go. There we go. One more. Deep breath in. Let it go. Exhale. Good. All right. Here we go. Good. Slide down for me on your side. Exhale. Okay. Exhale. All right, face up for me. Good. Everything's pushed out to the right here. Everything's more to the right. We're starting this side. I got you. There we go. 1 second. There we go. There we go. Yeah, we got work to do. Wow. That is a lot tighter than I thought. the loose parts of your neck that are in the lower area that I have no desire to adjust would adjust easily, but I have no desire to further move what's already moving. Does that make sense? I'm trying to isolate and just loosen the parts that are stiff. And some of the areas that were stiff move, but they're reluctant. You know, there's a lot of this right here. Feel this over here is all kind of knotted. And so I use the massage as a way to kind of coerce and, like, yeah, all that's got to be untangled. Oh man, these knots up here, but I'm sorry, I'm trying to distract you.
You're good.
It's a mess.
Yeah, do what you gotta do.
This is the explanation for that shoulder pain. The lower neck joints are in distress because your upper neck is underworking and your lower neck is overworking, and it's tied with your work and then injuries in life and school. And you know, like, I have teenagers coming in here and I ask them how many hours a day they sit, and they're like 14 to 16 hours a day, and it's like, there's your problem. And nobody told us when we were teenagers that was going to cause a problem in our 20s.
And I knew, when COVID hit, I kind of took that as a big lazy pass. And I started working from home, so it was like, and that's when everything kind of started acting up.
Right.
I had some stomach problems too, so it all
Digestion,
kind of,
right.
yeah.
The stomach, you'll have gastric paresis will start happening. It's like,
What were your stomach problems?
I think it was a type of paresis type thing. It was just, I just always like had felt full.
you know, the sympathetic nerves that are the fight or flight nerves that shut down your stomach come from your back. So when you have neck inflammation, back inflammation, it ties directly with your stomach health. So how long have you worked for the?
Almost 2 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you find them? How did you?
I just found them online. I was kind of into, genetics.
Cool.
And, it kind of just worked out. They had an opening. Yeah, I've liked it a lot. Except for, it kind of does make me sit a lot, which is kind of piling these things up, but we're taking care of that.
I love it. My micro and genetics are my two favorite. I took advanced genetics in undergrad, and it was one of my favorite courses. And just the complexity is like ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like, how deep do you want to go?
Right.
Because you can just keep going deeper.
I watched a video it was like electromicrogram of exactly how a cell divides in like a mitosis, and it was cool because it showed like the bilipid layers. I know, real nerdy stuff. And then even as the two were separating, there was like a channel, almost like a placenta between the two. Anyway, it was like there was still information, even though the two cells are like fully formed. There was still a hole, and there was material still going in between before it finally, kind of pinched off and sealed itself. And anyway, it was just like an electromicrogram of cell division. I was like, cool.
I took a prokaryotic lab. I was like, wow, I'm really enjoying this. This is pretty cool. We made like our own yogurt.
Yes. Oh, cool. All right, just clean it up here. You got a big mark up here, by the way. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Right up there, it's all congested. And these are the roots of the neck here. These are just right here, the cables that attach into your shoulder blades. And as the head goes forward, they kind of elevate and lift these attachments up. And so it's like, ultimately you can rub these forever and ever. That'll always be tender in here until you get the head back in the head position. And that's where we're going to end our visit today, showing you how to counter stretch and deal with the posture. So posture is ultimately the controller of where the stress goes. And so when our posture gets changed from injuries, right? You have an injury when in your formative years when you're a teenager, then your body healed in what we call antalgia, right? It healed in whatever position it could heal outside of pain. And now we have to try to aim you back to the ideal position, which is going to help you make it to 90. It's just, it's easy to heal in avoidance. And they don't have you don't have Dr. Bo, my father, as your father, who's adjusting you right after you get injured and not letting you heal away. And I thought everybody had a chiropractor's father.
That would be nice.
Yeah. the goal is that eventually nothing is difficult. There is no normal pain back here. There is no normal soreness. There's no normal dents on a car. If you buy a brand new car and it has dents on it, it's like, well, no, that's just normal. No! It's not supposed to be dented. Injuries and then compensation and avoidance. And now I'm opening up all the doors and cleaning. But the goal is, with care, is to get to a place where everything is easy and there's no painful spots anywhere and no tenderness anywhere.
That's the spot.
Yeah,
It's gonna start trying to tighten up on me, but I'm gonna stay loose.
It's a quadratus lumborum. This is the 12th rib attachment here. When you rotate, you're, wrenching and pulling on that attachment. You have to kind of go upwards in that direction. You want to compress or panini that attachment back down. That feels lovely, Ed, I know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the right's elevated and you're leaning essentially away from the right side, and then you're actually using your back more 60-40. Your left side actually does more work. As part of why it hurts is that it's under more mechanical stress, and this is more elevated right here. That's why you're feeling it in here. This is all the ribs are more elevated. That's why you're. And then part of that's because this is upset. And
Like, no, but I'm doing my best to keep it loose for you here.
You're good.
Probably before your time, there's a song from the 90s. You be saying no, well, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Is that a kid's song or no?
No.
Oh. It's like, it sounds like I'm not familiar. Never mind.
My wife grew up on a horse. I don't know. She wasn't. She wasn't like getting out much. Z88.3 or something maybe all the time.
No way, that was me too.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Z88.3.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's all.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I
If
think
someone else knows about that.
I think that's all she was listening to. She didn't get any secular music.
Stop.
Same, that was always on the...
How's the pain up there by the...
Yeah, we worked the
Yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
If it hurts for me to touch it, then it's always going to be, have the potential to be hurting when you're not in my office. That's the goal, is to get where this is easy, and then when you leave, it's not even close to the threshold anymore. Not close to the cliff edge.
It's all been okay. I will say this area down here was really trying to...
Hurting.
Yeah.
Oh, help. There it is. They figured this out 1,000 years ago. You can just comb the tissue and bring blood in, and it speeds up replacement and healing, get the acidity out. That soft tissue wise, that there's an internal acidity that gets trapped in there, and that soft tissue acidity is, I used to say 50% of pain. I don't know. I've modified it doing this 15 years. I think it's something like 80% of pain is just the soft tissue. So the point of this is that not everything can be quantified or measured on an X-ray or MRI. That there's a soft tissue component to pain that is harder to put your finger on. It can be felt, right? You can touch it and go, it's right there, but you take a picture of it. Like after this mark goes away, your MRI would be the same before or after this. Does that make sense? There's not something objectively that we can see on an image or measure on a blood test. Therefore, it doesn't exist to a lot of doctors. They want it to be, does that make sense, quantifiable. You know, it's not quantifiable yet. And so I feel like that makes it, I feel like many doctors act like it doesn't exist because it can't be measured. It can be felt. You can go, Ed, there's something there. When you rub that spot, that's tender, that's not tender. You know, kind of idea, right? And then you're left with like, why is there a crunch in there? Why is there, you know, that click, right? You can feel it, but if you take an MRI of it, the image is 2 VHS. It's not 4K resolution yet. We don't have the detail on the imaging to showcase it. We'll do this on the side too a little bit. See if we might have like this. It's kind of silly to take an X-ray of this. It's like if you're gonna glean anything, it has to be an MRI. And
Yeah, they took the X-rays. They were like, "Oh well, you have got some. Your neck's tilted."
right, exactly.
I was like, well,
You're just left with stuff like that.
yeah.
Gosh, I was like, it's like, oh, just get it out of me. He has like a feeling of like, I can feel it internally and combing out of me.
Yeah, it's like I know it's there,
Mhm.
but I just didn't really have a way to
Right, it's hard to
do
read.
much about it.
It's always behind you, sneaking up
Yeah.
behind you, right? Your back's like that always. Yeah, I expect this side actually to be more tender. This is all, like I said, this is more elevated. This is going to have actually more.
Yeah, it is kind of touchy.
Yeah, it's going to be more tender on the right. I know you're hurting on the left. That's the what we call the compensatory pain. But it's actually, in terms of the source of mechanics, it's actually the right being tight and out of alignment and actually throws the work to your left. But like this is when I was massaging you, this was way tighter. Right there. Oh no, now he moves the shoulder blade out of the way and right underneath
There
there.
it is.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah, you've had some basketball injury. Keep that arm there for a second. Yeah, there's an injury in here. You've going for a dunk, or
Yeah.
when this got injured, something got pulled in here. And my point is that you're leaning away from this. This has caused it to lean away from this because this isn't as comfortable to compress these joints. And then the left lower is overstressed as a result of the avoidance of this.
And I've started to kind of feel that kind of like downstream into my arm too. It's like my arm is kind of tightened up. Like I've got kind of some like early carpal tunnel type, like tightness. You know, that's probably from work as well too, but yeah.
The same nerve that goes through the carpal tunnel is one long nerve essentially from your lower neck. Most of the time it's actually pinched here, but it's the same nerve. You'll feel it in your hand, but the source is more likely, you know, the neck is, so the idea would be to clean the spine, get the neck healthy, and then you might see a lot of that go away. Not to say that there isn't stress on that same nerve, but in terms of likelihood, I find the neck to be the biggest culprit.
But I should have, that's the thing.
Hello. What's cool about with the gua sha is you'll be able to actually point to exactly where it's going to come out. And it's right there, a little bit lower, yeah, right there. You know, the pain directly correlates with the internal soft tissue acidity. And that's what you're washing out of here. Now, posturally is the lumbar lordosis, the alignment can reproduce this. That makes sense. So ultimately we want to change the posture, but to speed up that process, sometimes you got to go in here and clean this stuff out, get it mobilized, and then it won't come back. And after we fix the alignment, that's all right. All right. There you go. Good. Too young to have this much stiffness in the SI joint too. So when I had you on your side, I was checking the mobility of this joint, and it, you know, tells me that you've had some injuries, you know, landing or a little too much reluctance in this joint. And that's what also can overstress the lower back. And that's part of what you know, home backyard adjustments. You loosen this joint up a little bit, that took some stress off your lower back. And so the looser you keep this joint, the happier your lower back's gonna be.
Kind of like, I felt myself kind of like guarding
Yeah.
when you were going down the middle there.
This right here is all,
Yeah, that,
needs more time.
it just wanted to
Mm-hmm.
fight you.
Might bow him in a second. Yeah, bow him.
It's like I'm trying to go against all of my senses,
Mhm.
basically.
Mm-hmm. Well, the joints have a lot more feeling, and so we're trying to get the weight on the joint ultimately for the sake of the disc.
Right.
So if we don't, not having weight on the joint is great for the joint. The weight's got to go somewhere else, and it ends up going on this piece of cartilage called the disc, and then by 50 it's all destroyed. The disc doesn't regenerate like the joints can replace and regenerate, and so it's better that the weight's on the joint. But the joints are loaded with pain fibers, and so when we have spinal injuries, it's just easy to offload that stress to the non-sensitive disc, and then you can do that for 30 years. And so that's part of what you're feeling is when I'm adjusting you, I'm trying to bring your body back to the right alignment. And we don't have to do it all in one visit, but you know, you massage, you adjust, and then you stretch, and then you do a couple rounds of this, and then when your body wants to be in the right alignment, then it's not difficult. The adjustments are easy. When there's a disparity is what we're finding, is that there's a large difference, Ed, between where you want me to be and where I want to be right here.
Right.
That's where the difficulty comes in.
And I did, when I was sitting, you know, just for long periods of time,
Yes.
I find myself wanting to, like, put my left leg up, like cross my left leg. I'm guessing that's kind of
That opens this up.
kind of the
Yeah.
passing off the the load.
You're flexing the weight onto the disc. Yeah, when you bring your left leg up, you're
Right.
you're opening up and running away from this.
And then that would cause me to have to lean up with my right to get to the mouse. So it's like it's like a bad cycle, basically. And I was caught in it for a few months probably. Then I was like, what's going on here? Why can't I walk
Oh, that
without
was
pain?
smart of you to kind of pick up though. It was your position.
Yeah, it took some thinking,
Yeah.
but
Here we go. There we go. I know. I got you. There we go. A little bit. Okay. I know. Yeah, that's,
yep.
some marks up here. There's a bunch on that, actually on the right shoulder. I missed it. Oh yeah.
Side there, yeah.
Maybe you're back on your back. I'm gonna check the legs and all that. I got you. Relax your leg. There you go. Oh, that was nice. Yeah, hold on above your head for me a little bit. Just relax your leg now. There we go. Okay. All right. A little bit. Okay. All right. Go ahead and tilt your head left for me a little bit. Tilt left. Here we go. Go ahead and tilt left. Okay, nothing there. Okay. Go ahead and tilt to the right. There we go. Go ahead and tilt right. Up the top. Press back with your elbow a little bit, press back. There we go. Same thing, press back, press back. There we go, yeah. Okay, breathe. So this is more of a scanning tool. You start at the top and you're working your way down to middle back. As you get closer to that middle back, I want you to actually bend the knees a little bit more so your feet are flat. There you go. And the feet and knees will be together as best you can.
Okay.
And then go ahead and we're gonna push and roll down your spine a little bit. It's about, at home you're gonna go minute by minute, inch by inch, but just for the sake of have you go down a little bit lower, I wanna sort of see right in that middle back target area, right there. Bend the knees a little bit more. And then rotate your knees left, stretch, rotate, exhale, twist, exhale.
I feel like my right hip like just getting super tight on me.
Bring your knees right. About 5-10 seconds, and then you're gonna go knees right. Eventually your knees touch the floor is your goal.
Okay.
There you go, exhale, try to exhale, there you go. Yeah, you've lost this range of motion. This is like currency we've lost. So what happens is if the rubber band's so tight, when you go to do something, you tear it easy because the total length is reduced, right? So as you make all that tissue more flexible, it's gonna become a lot harder to tear it. You know, it's just, you got it all so tight in there.
Oh geez, my calf just like freaked out on me.
Let's move higher, move higher. No, you're getting into your lower back there.
Okay.
No, it's from the spinal stretching. I want you practicing with a roller. I want you, the den roll, we'll give it a chance in a second, but if the roller's difficult, then the den roll's gonna kill you.
Okay.
So the idea is to go through some treatment, get your spine limber, use the roller to keep your spine limber. But what's happening is the holes that the nerves go through get smaller when you bend back. And that's part of why even the calf's going into spasm, is because you're starting to hit that nerve a little bit. Go ahead and bend these back up again. Put the hands on top of your thighs and you push. So get the idea, and you traction. Well, you're gonna stay on the same location on the roller,
Okay.
but you're trying to
I see what you're saying.
You're trying to open up that lower back a
I
little
feel it. Yeah, here trying to.
you need to practice that. That what's happening is, there's some compression in there, and then you're getting some nerve pressure. That's why you like to lift your leg up. Lifting your left leg up when you cross your leg is the opposite of what I'm doing here. And it's running into the thing that you're used to avoiding. Hey, my left leg's going spasm, right? There's some disc injury or something that we're not seeing, that we miss on x-ray going on in there, that's coming to light because about 5-10 seconds, then put your arms to the side, or just relax. Plenty of work to do up here.
Yeah.
We've got to start, and then you just roll down an inch, or you roll, and to me you're gonna come down and attack, and you start feeling something in your leg, and then you run back up here.
Okay.
And then eventually you're gonna be able to do this right over that spot here with no book behind your head. That's your goal. We have to try to progress. Usually at 25, it's a few months.
Okay.
Every day, well, usually it's the first 20-minute sessions. You got to get 20-minute sessions on a roller, and that's your first checkpoint. And I like to say something like 50% improvement after 20. So if you're, everything's half as difficult after first 20 sessions of doing this, and your depth increases, and as your spine becomes healthier on this roller, and you restore your range of motion, all those symptoms are going to start calming down. You've lost so much up here. It just wasn't needed. Your chest has gotten all frozen, and the stomach shuts down, the lower back gets upset, and nobody really cares until 38 when your discs start, getting in trouble. But yeah, bend the knees a little bit more, maybe bend the knees a little more. There you go. Sure. That'll help you reach that.
My left legs sometimes I feel it like getting numb. So, and like this is, I do feel some
that's disc injury.
Kind of coming back through. The calf was probably because of that.
Yeah, that's disc injury on the left side. We'd see it on MRI, $200 MRI. If you want clarification, it doesn't necessarily change my treatment, but it does help to put your finger on what's the problem and how do we just be more serious about.
I kind of remember where, and I can feel it still, exactly where I fell on it. So it's, I have a general idea of the area.
It takes about 10 years for a disc to get injured. So, however, 10 years ago when that's about right. When the injury then would then create a disc injury now. 10, 15 years is usually how long it takes for a disc to go from uninjured to being able to even bulge out. So it's like a cavity in a tooth, and when you come down closer to that area, you're making that cavity move a little bit, and that's why you're going to feel it where that nerve goes. But yeah, the hip socket, all of that is just...
this all just feels so tight.
That's because what happens is the muscle gets spasmed because you're putting pressure on the nerve, right? So the nerve is being pinched in your lower back, and it's going to cause calf spasms, hip spasms. Try the knees to the right. That should make it feel better. Right. Knees right. Your knees right. That should open it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like that should be...
And I would kind of do these, but I didn't know to have this underneath.
Yeah, this should be your savior.
Yeah.
This should give
they're like windshield wipers, right? Yeah, that's what they're... And I would do this, but I wouldn't have anything underneath.
Yeah, you want to have that support.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that closes it. When you bring your knees left, it makes the hole a little smaller on the left.
But then it helps this one.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then knees right. Try rolling down a little bit. Try move this way.
This way.
There you go. And then give that a shot. Knees bend a little bit more, and then knees right. There you go. Stretch that open. We can't rob one guy to pay another guy. That's why I don't want you having no support behind your back. We can't try to stretch your hips without having support of your lumbar. Your loose areas are very flexible, but a larger percent of your back is stiff, and that's tight. So what is moving is really able to move a lot, and that's where you can get in trouble because you'll overstress that small percentage of your back that's eager and willing to work. Long periods of time, you kind of put this underneath your chest, lay on your belly. Get the idea?
Okay, yeah.
Interweaving these kind of positions. Now, the danger is that if your lower back is so loose and your chest is really stiff, then you're going to pinch your lower back. And if that starts to happen, you bring the roller higher and you don't arch up so much. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But you need to start practicing, and if
isn't this like a yoga pose?
Cobra.
Yeah.
But interweaving this type of thing in your life, if you have the ability to have a laptop or headset, or if you're taking a long phone call, you don't take the long phone call sitting. You lay down and lay on your belly, arching up. And it's about interweaving at your age to keep that sway down here. The sitting takes the normal lumbar lordosis and straightens it, or takes it to the opposite extreme. And you can only do it till mid-late 30s, 40, and then now you're all of a sudden confronted with, that position was causing all that disc stress. Like right now, we might be only see it if you take a stress view, a seated MRI, right? If you take a laying down MRI, it might not see it because it's not big enough until it's compressed. So I think sometimes these things are missed until they've gotten to like a higher level of severity, and then everybody finally agrees with me. You got to get the curve back in your spine.
Exactly.
So these discs aren't weighted. That disc starts to come out and then starts to occupy space that shouldn't be occupied by anything. So we call these space occupying lesions. 99% of the time it's a disc occupying the space. Of course, it could be a tumor, which isn't what I always know. It could be, most likely it's a disc. And so you have an injury 10, 15 years ago that allows the disc to actually go from a self-cohesive substance to more of a liquid. It starts to burrow its way out. And now we got a bulge or something, like I said, the nerve's getting hit. But watch what happens when you bring your thigh up. If you bring this left thigh up, you're opening that hole. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Right, so that's where, and you bring the leg up.
Avoidance there.
See, it opens that up. But that mashes the disc more, which then causes it to rupture more, and then you get into this positive feedback loop where, so you're actually bending me back. That's why I got you on the roller. So I putting you on the roller, right? And we're arching you back because we're going to take the weight off these discs. See, the discs always rupture and go posterior or towards the back because the front is so squeezed. So as we unweight the front, we call it a vacuum effect. The disc will actually get almost like a straw, gets sucked back towards the front as you depressure. It doesn't actually want to be out there. People don't understand this. The discs don't want to be out there by the nerve. They're only there because where they want to be has been so compressed that it's shifted them out. So how do you get the disc to unherniate or unbulge? You have to take the stress and weight off the disc so the disc will go back. You can't unweight the front if the joint won't compress. That's what these little handshakes are here. So you got the The knuckles, that's what I did with my elbow. I'm in here trying to get the joints to overlap. So see these guys here? They like handshakes. See how they glide together? But if there's all this crystals and plaque in there,
Then it's just
it won't close. And if that won't close, then that can't open up, right? So that's the whole, like when on the bow move, trying to bring you up and close these joints so that the front can be opened up, and that then you can more easily spend more time. Oh, that's not so difficult, right? But if your back wants to be straight and your back's supposed to be curved, that distance is difficult. Interweaving. I mean, I understand you got to sit, but and then you bring one knee. Like you'll feel like this will, you'll do something. This will help it. You understand? Try bringing one knee up from the side, and then this will open it up on the left, bringing your right knee up. So you'll figure out what positions will help it. Let me see, try it. Yeah, bring your knee up from the right on the right. Knee? Yeah, like that. That should.
To kind of open it up a little more.
Yeah, on the left. Does that make sense? So you're doing this.
Yeah, I do feel that. Yeah.
That'll open it up.
Yeah.
Your SI joints are way too tight. I got you. There you go. All right, other side for me. Other side. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was stuck.
Always more.
You just say it's needing coercion. The more you get mobility here and the more mobility you get here, the more we're going to take off. But it's like a sprained ankle. I have no ability to heal a sprained ankle. That, along with the disc, the joint's injured, right? And that's why it's just there, Ed. And the best way for it to feel better is to stop chewing on it. It's like, but it's your body's go-to place to chew.
Yeah. And
so it's what you're doing on the roller and stretching is you're trying to redirect where your body bends. Your back is supposed to be supple up here, right? Your back has a little bit of this feeling.
Yeah, just.
You understand?
Yes.
It's locked up
exactly.
here. It's supposed to feel mobile in there. The Chiropractic Biophysics, idealspine.com, there are guys that, they usually just do the adjustment part. They might not do all the stretching or all the massage, but they do the stretching at least, and they can at least, the goal is to aim you to a dental. You're not ready for it. If you're getting spasms on a roller, but eventually the goal will be to go up to something a little deeper. This is your end game, is this guy. But this is going to be too intense for you. But I was going to show you something similar to this. Scoot back a little bit. You got to start interweaving.
Something there to kind of keep me in the right
Get
spot.
the idea like that?
Yeah.
You can push something into your middle back, even on your drive home. Get a water bottle, just anything really. Roll up jersey.
Yeah,
You got to have something a little uncomfortable, wedged in there, so you don't just round your spine out. And then you go, because you're okay while you're sitting, and you go to get out of your car, and you're like, my hip.
And then I'll always want to now I feel like I'm way off, and then I want to try to pop it.
It's because of the inflammation that the 3 hours of sitting created. So it's tough. It's the result of disc injuries, and discs are so tough because we don't feel them. They're like nails or enamel, and we only feel the effects that they create. But you can stress out the disc more, which actually makes the other structures feel better because you're taking the weight off them, and so it's but you're actually making the problem propagate. So it's sometimes it feels the exact opposite. This is good for you. That hurts. It's like
it shouldn't.
Right.
It's like if it was healthy.
It's tough.
So yeah.
It's good. You're gonna get broccoli's good for you, but it doesn't taste good. Chocolate's good for me. Well, no, actually, that's not actually that great for you. This is what's good for you.
And this is just wanting to just tighten this spot up so much, hip flexor.
Just sit
it's
like that.
starting. Yeah, it's wanting to, and then now, and that's probably why I would do this. In which case, it would kind of take some tightness out of here.
Get back on your back here. Let me
Sure.
just see if I can rub that a little bit. Yeah, face up.
Rub actually there. Yeah.
It's not. This is ultimately not gonna.
Yeah,
But you can dig in here. But again, you're just chasing carrots.
And that's what, like with my spiky foam roller, when it would get too tight, I'd just try to get in there. But then,
it's not going to do anything. You're going to be chasing
I'm
carrots.
just back to.
But
the same
symptomatically,
spot.
you could try to make it feel better a little bit
Right.
by digging. Ultimately, if you want to use your massager, you got to get it up into your middle back, and then you got to master those rollers. And as the stress goes off your lower back, icing your lower back, Epsom salt, we got to calm down the lower back. It's an inflamed lower back that's causing that. When you're sitting, it's all the stress is going to your lower back, and that's what's being aggravated. You have to find somebody to care for you where you live, or you live in Sarasota for a month. You know, you need to be aimed towards dental rolls, and then your spine's got to get cleaned. All that bruising's got to go away.
Yeah.
You know, when the bruising goes away, you should see some of the symptoms calm down a little bit, you know, and then you have another wave of me going in there and dredging up all that muck, and then you take that out, and then you do another round until once all the bruising goes away, usually 5, 6, 7, visit 5, 6, 7, there's no more bruising, then you can get on a dental roll without the calf going spasmed. You understand? But right now, there's so many variables in play that are all adding together that, and I can't bend back without hitting something.
Yeah.
So the correct postures, the things that I want to teach you, you're not ready for kind of idea. We have to clean up the spine to make getting to the right place safe to do, and that your middle back's doing it, not necessarily your lower back bending too much. But it's hypermobility that created that. It's the area, like a piece of paper. You fold a piece of paper back and forth, and it's starting to get torn. And the injury 10, 15 years ago is what set us up for this. And you know, that's where your back does all the motion, and it's just inflamed, and it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like I said, it kind of built after a while, so now we just like slowly unpacking it.
Try to, I mean, like I said, what we were saying, but if you sit like, you know, not with this chair necessarily, but like some chairs, you get a low back chair, try to sit backwards on it. You know, just I have a better chair in my office, but you're trying to keep that sway and get that arch back in your back up to the point where the leg's not and the hip's not pissed off. And that's then you got to back off and you have to lay down. You know, it's really about either being upright's fine and being laid down is fine. It's the sitting that's the biggest killer, and that's where most of my life is sitting, and that's what's gotten us here.
Right. Thanks so
All right,
much.
appreciate you for dropping in.
Of course.
We'll talk about trying to, like I said, if you're ever in the area, I'll show
Yeah.
you, I'll give you my information on how to drop back in here, and thanks for dropping in.
For sure. Thank you, sir.